Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Podcast, Ultra Running Edition. So we have H. Alberto Flores. If you want to find him, H. Alberto Flores on the I guess LinkedIn and all his social media. So Alberto is a founder. He's founder at HAFGrow Plus Media. He's also co-founder at Craft Azul Brands. He's also founder at 4050 plus evolution since the past 10 years and a bunch of other organizations. I see attack here, so that was plant-based sports nutrition, art on glycine for 10 years. So serial entrepreneur, also an ultra runner. He's done a bunch of really impressive shit, like Colorado Rockies, 400 plus miles, Moab, you guys know Moab, right? And Trans Rockies. So a bunch of very long endurance runs. And I thought to get him on the pod because if you folks have ever run 5 or 10 or 40K, you know like how hard it is and the type of mentality that you need to finish up these events, the grit that you develop off that. And obviously being a founder is the same, right? It's really hard. It's a different type of race, but when you crisscross the two, running and founding companies, you get greatness in both fields, by the way, like mentally and physically, right? So glad to have you on the pod, Alberto. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays?
Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much for the introduction. It's really interesting as as I receive your email and invitation, you're talking about two amazing points, amazing pillars in my life. That it's the ultra running, endurance sports, and entrepreneurship. It's those 2 points are very strong pillars in my life and in the process that I'm going right now to in a business, in life, balancing family, balancing being a dad, being a husband, being a business owner, and also being a an endurance athlete. And I think right now I'm just stay focusing on my health, on keep pushing hard on my training, because there is definitely on the entrepreneur side or the business side, there's very interesting projects that we're developing. Last we'll say probably after pandemic, after 2020, that crazy world shake us everybody, right? I kind of focused back again into brand development, into creating, designing products, focus on um, wellness and nutrition. And I've been just really creating, experimenting with about a bunch of different adaptogens and a bunch of different, you know, um, health and wellness products that it keep, elevating our longevity. And I think right now that's been really my focus, and also testing and product, doing a lot of R&D with some of the brands. Coming from a brand development and product development, always been balancing that part of spending a lot of time on the trails, not only on my feet running, but also I spend a lot of hours on my bike. I'm very strong mountain biker and doing a lot of gravel biking right now the last 4 or 5 years. And it's real interesting, how spending time up in the trails, even if it's on a bike or it's on our legs, creativity is always there. We always been creating new things, new ideas. You kind of organize your team. I'm a team player. I have an amazing team from Mexico City to here in California and in Seattle. That it's really strong, and I think this is part of my foundation, right? Of being a team right now. I've been doing a lot of events solo. That before, I did a lot of events with a team of four, always a woman in the team. And, yeah, as you see a little bit of my resume, I did, 5 times Promo Quest, an expedition race over from 250 to 600 miles. And it just built it really strong to make decisions, to be, to have be resilient and just just stay focused on the goals and keep pushing, right? I think there is nothing we will stop us there.
And what got you started? Like, are you just built differently? What does your family or your friends think of you? Are they like, yeah, you're fucking crazy? Like, what got you started?
It's interesting. I think I was started as a kid. As a kid, I always was really pushed by my dad to run, to do sports. From playing football to playing. I did karate for many years, and then you start jumping on running and cycling, and then I tried. I know you're coming from Ironmans. I tried an Ironman. I'm a really bad swimmer. I felt really insecure on my swimming, but I'm super strong on my bike and on my legs. So then I found this interesting sport back in the 95, 96. There was Eco Challenge, and there was
Love these.
in a sport that you replace the swimming for a kayak, and then I just fell in love with the sport, and I did my first expedition in about 98. Then I did 2002, 2004, 2006. I started going every 2 years doing an international expedition. I just love the moment. I love to be out there. I love to disconnect from technology. As a creative, as a CEO in an agency, we are surrounded about all this technology. The computer, the podcast, our phones. So being out there, doing expeditions and doing some type of endurance events, it really kind of connect my head with my with just with my thoughts and with God. I'm a very spiritual man, and I really love to spend that time in there to have that conversations, right?
Yeah, God has her back during these events, right? Because when you do something that difficult, you're too weak as a human to fully bear that responsibility and that weight. It's just like you're literally doing superhuman, supernatural things, like 600 fucking miles. Are you kidding me? Right? Like, that's insane. That's like a multi-day event in which you sleep sometimes no hours, sometimes three per night. Your body's all messed up. What happens in your mind once you're like in a really bad shape? You and I know that these things pass, right? Is that like the mindset when you're all fucked up and your body can't continues, like, or do you bring God in that equation? Does he take care of you at that level?
Of course, he's always there for us, right? And it's always that opportunity to talk to him and communicate that how you feel with your head. I think is that breathing moment, right? Is one breath at a time and one step at a time. Of course, those races, you're going to suffer. You're going to be on pain, and you're gonna get lost, or there is some adversary is going to happen, but always when you have him in control, and you have your goal, you're going to finish, you're going to cross the finish line, whatever it takes. So I think this is it's a lot of mentality. I was always say that 80% of those events are right
Like
here.
95 or 99 or
Right, and then the rest is in your body. And I think I'm in my 50s now, and my body, I know my body really well. It's just how it's going to respond. How it's going to move, and you have to build those intelligent restraints that you can also apply it into your business.
right. And I'm saying like 95 and 99 because if your goal is just to finish and you don't care about the bodily price that you'll pay, right? Like Goggins, for example, he ran on broken shins, right? Uh,
Mm.
and he did like a whole bunch of shit. I think my goal also will stop there. Like, I don't want to injure myself, right, while running. I do think of running as propellant to my business. And actually, I don't run these things for medal. I run them to become a better human being, to become a better entrepreneur, right? So if I sense that I'm about to get injured, that's where I'll stop, right? And some people don't even have that. That's why I'm saying like 99% mental, right? Because these folks will even sacrifice their body, right? They'll cripple their bodies to actually finish that race. That's a line I'm not willing to cross. You recently injured yourself, right? So what was that injury, and did that also mentally injured you? Like, because you and I, we have our identities as well as athletes, right? And if we're not moving our body as well as we used to, we're like, shit, did I lost my mojo, right? So what,
Yeah.
walk us through that recent process of yours of getting back on track.
Yeah, it was, it was real interesting. It was just an accident on my mountain bike. I hit real hard my seat, the back of my seat through my apps, and just create a little bit of a problem inside in there. I didn't pay attention. I was actually getting ready for an adventure race, a world championship, and I just got that problem. I kept training, and I noticed through the weeks that I have this very, pain, and to that creates a damage inside my stomach. So I have to really kind of go into stop everything. When you set up some goals, and in September was that event, and it was an event out of the country. And instead of going to that event, I went to the surgeries, right? To to get in, open and fix that, and then you kind of ruin a whole in 10 months, 11 months of training. So now at my age, is really hard because you cannot afford that. I'm not recovering as before. Even for me, recovering is the number one thing on my training now, is the priority. Recovering from stretching or from sleeping to nutrition, recover is the number one thing. So after that surgery, I have to stop. It took me a full year to really get back into it, and then another 6 months that I've been training at the gym. I've been, like, changing the way that I've trained. So I don't ride like before. I kind of spend a little more time on weightlifting, or powerlifting. The running, it kind of took a little bit longer because it was just the impact in that area was really hard. But now is like, feel great. Did the test, the whole test with physical test. Doctor is like, you're good. Like, I should be very careful on the recovery. But I think is that part that we know our bodies, we know our mental strength, right? And I think that's something that, as an athlete, it's always in there, and you can apply it into any business, right? I think every athlete has their own ideal pace for training, and every business has its own ideal pace for growth, and all sort of things that I've been balancing every time.
Right. Yeah, so you literally got fucked by your mountain bike, right? Like, that happened to me, I think, like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I go out with my dogs on my mountain bike on the trail. We're about to go run together, and oh man, I fucking dropped and got penetrated by my mountain bike seat, and it was so painful when that happened. So now I understand the ladies when that happened, but yeah, and yeah, to you it led to intestinal damage, which must be very, very painful. Yeah, in my last race, I did the Puerto Vallarta UTMB 100K, which
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
we should do one day together.
That's on the list. That's on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, but we should do the 100 mile, right? Like, because yeah, I know what you're capable of. But even that one was really hard. I ran that one with a partner, and that's gonna lead me to the next point, right? Because you did these echo races, and I also want to get into those with the partner that I actually did this run with, and he injured his calf during the race, and we had to walk most of it for the most part, and a 16-hour race turned into a 24-hour race, right? And yeah, I was with my friend in Puerto Vallarta. We would smoke cigars after that. And long story short, I got sick for a month after that, right? So sort of got injured. And when I would run uphill, I would start coughing. Use a coughing syrup that caused panic attack at night, which was really fucked up. And for the first time, I was like, yeah, did I lost my mojo, right? Did I lost my capability? And that sort of fucked with my mind. And I guess just being patient with myself and going back on the recovery road, right, and listening to my body brought me back on track. But yeah, it really affected me and the way that I thought about these things. Now, to my next point, right, like I love running with my friend, my guide there, and we want to do an echo race together. Echo races, for those that don't know, yes, you need to have a women in the team. It's four of you, and it's all kinds of events, right? That's really different from the typical ultra race, right? In which you're by yourself, right? And with that, you can like chit chat and joke around with the team members, and it's really fun. As humans, we need that social experience, and then that alone will give you energy, right? Like, tell us how that is different in between compared to like ultra races in which you're solo.
It's a big difference, and that's what I'm going in that challenge right now. And unfortunately, this injury kind of put a pause on it. But I have a race. I have two races in mind right now. One is the Cocodona 250, and the other one is Moab 250 or Tahoe 200. I want to go into those 200 plus miles solo, and I missed that one because it's the injury, and I have to get back and start pretty much square one. So I'm right now going into my program for square one and to reapply it for the entry. But again, is that difference between having a team with you. Normally when you do this eco race or the eco adventure race or promo quest or adventure racing worlds, you have three people in your team, and normally you know really well what you're capable to do. You can go and do a lot of together. It's a teamwork. You're talking, you're right, you're communicating, you're laughing, you're crying, you're fighting, you're getting back into it. But now going into this 250 miles solo, like what you're looking right now, that's for me is the next step. I want to experience that. My age, I think, is it's incredible that now mentally I feel really strong about doing it. My body is definitely, I need to work. I have a lot of work ahead, but I have a good program that I've been following. I have an amazing training schedule already, and a coach that is helping me. And by the way, the coach is my own son. That it's actually a coach and an athlete. And it's going to be really interesting. A different, again, as you mentioned, I'm not going to go and win this race. I wanna win the race here. I want to win that race on my mind. I want to go and do my own pace. I know I'm capable to, do more than 200 miles. I've been there. I know the pain. I know what we're going to go through. But I doing this a transformation. I want to kind of, move into that transformation. I want to share those moments on that race to everybody in the world. I think there's a lot of young people like you that you're getting into this ultra and Ironmans and multi sports, and also as an entrepreneur. If you really follow those two and balance those two things, um, it's just success. It's always going to be there, right? And it's just really for me, it's a very, very key into what is coming next in my career.
It's funny, I smiled because you said like I'm not going there to win, right? Like winning these things is so fucking incredibly hard. Like every position on the top 10, you need to invest what is it, like probably 10 hours more a week, right? And it
Yeah.
gets probably 3 to 5 to 10x harder to get in the first top five or top three position. Did you watch like King of Moab?
Yeah, I know. I mean, incredible, man. I was like, I've been seeing yeah, it's, I've been watching because it's a whole, it's a whole strategy, right? You need to build a strategy. So yeah, I've been watching and sharing with my support crew. Again, the plan was to do it this year. It didn't happen. I've been following, and I've been seeing. I have a bunch of friends there. They complete that, and I have a good friend of mine that finished top five. It's a tough race. I want to be there, and now I have another year of preparation. Right? It's real interesting at my age right now. One year that you miss something, an event that you want to do, is like, oh, you know, I'm it's your time is running, right? And I'm not 35 anymore. I'm not, I started doing this events when I was, early 20s, and I did all this 5-time promo quest on my 30s. I did another races in the mid 40s, and then now in my 50s is like I'm pushing this 40-50 adventure or 40-50 evolution method, because I know there's a bunch of good athletes out there. They're business people, they're CEOs, they're doctors, they're attorneys, that they did something amazing on their 20s and 30s. And they think that now they get into their 50s and like, oh, I'm done, can't move. That's bullshit. Like our body knows how to get back into it. I'm just coming from a full belly open surgery thing that it really kind of took me, yeah, almost 2 years to recover. But I know my body feels better. I can feel right now on my bike and on my legs, like if I'm 35, when I was running a 50 mile, when I was running 100 miles, and I think that's something out there. There's a lot of 50-year-old, even 60 years old, that they don't know how they just they're in the couch. And I think that's something that we have, and we can build it back again. If we did extraordinary things in our 20s and 30s, of course you can continue doing it. And I think that's a philosophy that I put on my head for business people and executives, that's you have to keep moving in this life. You cannot afford right now, with the world that we have out there, we have to be strong, and we have to build. One thing my dad says, like, hey, when you get to your 70s, who's gonna wipe your ass? And I'm
You,
like, holy
your own
shit,
self
you're
or a
totally
robot.
right. It's tough, right? So you better keep moving and keep, doing some weightlifting. There's some core training for our 50 and 60-year-old that we have to continue doing it, right?
Yeah, and for wiping your ass, that is tricep extension, right? Like,
Exactly, right? Or yeah, that's true. I've been seeing, I see a lot of friends are on their 50s, get into their 60s, and man, they're already freaking fat and you
and
know,
not flexible. Even myself,
like
like probably
yeah,
the ass wiping movement's the toughest for me because I'm like quite bulky at that level,
yeah.
and flexibility has been an issue for me. I'm not doing enough of that, enough yoga.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it is the key. And when you're, longevity, I think right now it's super hot, right? It's a hot topic, longevity. Well, yeah, how you going to build it? There's a lot of access to good nutrition. There's a lot of access to, good exercising, stretching, yoga, Pilates, weightlifting. I'm really, really passionate about, you know, um, powerlifting and combining with running and biking. So I think I become like a hybrid athlete that has been very strong into, continue growing on that.
Sorry, I'm back. Passionate about. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on my end. Sorry that you're passionate about. I lost you at that point.
Yeah, I'm so passionate about longevity and so
Yeah.
passionate about powerlifting. I think
Yes.
powerlifting for us an athlete and during an athlete is so key. I can tell you right now, if it's somebody come to me back in my 20s, hey, you have to combine powerlifting. Hey, you have to go to the gym. It was not, back or nutrition. Like I grew up in the border of Baja and in San Diego with just running with the power bar on your hand and not a nutrition really foundation. I think right now it's so key, important, right? And we have access to all that. So yeah, it's I'm a very, very, advocate to promote and to really push that to adults and athletes, they're pushing this new era of longevity, right?
Right. Yeah. Nutrition, like my nutrition isn't good enough nowadays, because my equation is always like, yeah, how can I maximize my output? Like how can I invest the least to get the greatest return? And that's all not always paid right. I think even like body consciousness after you've ate something. Yesterday I went to the movie theater, ate some popcorn, and even after eating that and a burger, didn't feel my best, and woke up sort of tired because of that today. So yeah, there's like that consciousness, powerlifting. Yeah, for sure. I'm doing a lot of weight training, and I think the human wasn't made to just run all the time, right? And being in zone three all the time, like I think it's made to lift really heavy shit. Like I think CrossFit is amazing for that reason. I'm about to get into CrossFit competitions as well. I think these are insanely fucking hard. Like it really
Yep.
spikes your heartbeat, and it's a different mental zone
Yep. Yep. Yep.
than endurance, right? And
Yep.
I think if you're gonna do endurance races, it's gonna sort of mess up your knees at some level. I think trail running is way better than like running on concrete for sure.
100%.
And with the right pair of shoes, shout out to Hoka, which tends to be the
100%.
best
Yeah. Yeah.
normally. But what other tips do you have for me? Let's say to have a long and healthy running career, like as a biohacker, as someone that's really obsessed with their longevity, right? Like how can I maintain a very long and healthy ultra running career?
I think, look, you live in an amazing place, and I hear the food in Oaxaca, it's outstanding, right? So you
Yeah,
just stay on top. I think protein is number
but
one
stay
thing,
away
right?
from spicy shit.
Well, yeah, it hurts for sure, but you have a good nutrition base. I think you mentioned that CrossFit. I did CrossFit. I started doing CrossFit in 2013, 14, and then I went and did this 500-mile race in Tahoe, around Tahoe, with an Eco Promo Quest Tahoe 2015, and I did it with 2 years of CrossFit, and it was one of my best races. Like super strong, like very mobility, anaerobic. All that is the key. I think for you as to build as an endurance athlete, keep doing the powerlifting. CrossFit, you mentioned CrossFit to me is one of the best sports that you can combine as an endurance athlete. Definitely nutrition is number one, but your CrossFit building those big muscles, focus onto those areas, because ultra running is so much impact on your body. It's not only on your legs, but it's in general everything, your core, your shoulders, your arms, everything, all the moves that you're doing, 100% body, upper body. But CrossFit will be the key. I think, doing those events, if it's not because I was putting a lot of effort on the CrossFit, it will be really tough. And I think right now, after coming from an injury, getting back into powerlifting, but also the combination of kettlebells, and I do a lot of rowing. I do a lot of kind of movements that help to continue developing. That's going to be the key. And I think you, Charles, with where you are right now, it's and I think I always say ultras in any endurance sports, you want to go in the event to enjoy the event. The commitment starts when you sign up for the race and you get in training mode, right? So being smart on your training, so when you get into the race, you're going to enjoy that. That's the key. But I think combination of a hybrid athlete is that, is somebody that is going to power lift and CrossFit, and do your work on adding those miles. It's smart, like adding miles every week. That's kind of the key for that.
Love it. And what's next for you on the business level of things?
Well, in the business level, we're pushing Craft Azul brands, so Craft Azul spirits. We are working on creating this amazing, amazing product that we extracting from agave, all the nutrients, extracting, moving the alcohol out of the agave. and combining that with adaptogens to creating drinks and energy drinks or social drinks. They're not alcoholic, but then also they're beneficial for your health. Like we using a lot of adaptogens like lion's mane, cordyceps, that are amazing for endurance sports, for mental clearness. So yeah, I'm doing another. 10 years ago, I developed this amazing sports nutrition based on plant based and cold press technology. Now we doing something similar 10 years after, but it's more like a replacing the social drink and the energy drinks through good nutrition, less sugars, more adaptogens, so they can help us go and move fast. Before I forgot, you just mentioned something. You were last night in a movie theater eating popcorns. You might want to take a look into the taramaras
I did.
Cop-
Obviously, I
Copper
did.
Canyon, right?
How
That
could I
you
not?
Okay, so they used to they what their power drink is.
Yeah, it's corn. It's a corn-based drink, sugary.
Pinole.
Yeah, I never tried it.
Pinole, you know what it is? It's
You
just
know,
it's popcorns. So I can tell you the popcorn is the best ultra.
and what
Uh,
is weird for them is beans, right? I mean, their stomach, I think it digests better than mine. But like, dude, if I would eat beans, I'd probably shit myself.
I totally agree with you 100%. But you mentioned the popcorns. Popcorn it's exactly that. It's an
But
amazing.
even popcorn is, I think I don't digest it well. Whether it's maybe natural popcorn, but I think it's naturally gonna inflate in my stomach. And in the movie theater, they put all kinds of OGMs and bullshit on it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. They're gonna throw the butter and they're gonna just give a greasy, right? But if you just
It's so
grab
good, but so
popcorn,
nasty.
if you just put popcorn with a little bit of salt on it, it's that's what they do. And these guys and the girls, I don't know, you see that,
Yeah, they run on chanclas.
it, exactly one with their huaraches and their skirts, and it's amazing. Story of what the taramadas are doing in consuming the pinole. So pinole is like you grind or you put in the blender a bunch of popcorns, and that's how it tastes. I use that sometimes on my races. I just go and order it online and try it. A little bit of a tea or so. It's an amazing endurance powder. What do you call this? Sustain energy, a natural sustain energy.
Yeah, let's see if you can get my stomach to react nice to that one because I know I have quite a sensible stomach, and in my 7 years long ultra career, or 10 years long, I think the last 3 years have been the only last 3 years in which my stomach has been great, and I haven't shit myself in last event because I tried the keto diet, for example,
Yeah.
and all of these kinds of things, and it never really fit, So I think I really found my fit there. Because as you know, if your stomach is messed up, man, that affects your performance so bad by at least 30%, if not 60% sometimes. You become a walking zombie, and your full world becomes like dark and is like you can't see the end at the light of the tunnel, right? Because your stomach takes so much energy from your full body. I'm not sure if you have seen that in your own races.
Yeah, no, no. The stomach is the number one thing. You would definitely have to prepare that for what you use. I normally have a rule that I'm not going to experiment on something new through the race or a week before the race, right? It's always been very strict into that. Hey, I'm from Mexico. I eat everything. I love food. I just never watch my calorie intakes, or I'm a good eater, right? But I'm always watching that before an event or before a race. And during the race, you should try what you are using on your training. And then on any race, any event is like another training day, right? So why are you going to experiment with things? But sometimes, yeah, the water or things that you need to be careful with. But yeah, man, I love food, and I know I can turn that food into energy. It's just, that's applause.
Yeah, you need discipline, right? Because during races, you sometimes you arrive a station and you're like, oh man, I'm so fucking hungry. That looks delicious. I just shove it into my stomach. That's a big mistake. You're gonna
Yeah,
enjoy it for like maybe a couple of seconds, right? You're gonna feed your reptilian brain, but like in 10, 15 kilometers, that's like disaster pants. It's
yep,
alert. It's you need to stop running because you messed up your gut like an hour ago, right? And
yep.
sometimes the digestion is slower on these things. So need to be very strategic. And at some levels, you need to evaluate like the how good looking is that food, right? Like if it's an old sandwich that's been left there for 15 hours with flies on it, maybe not such a good idea. As that will ferment in your stomach, and that will create a huge problem later on in your race. So you need to be disciplined. But Alberto, thank you so much for coming on. Where can we find out more about you and your companies?
Yeah, thank you, Charles. My handle is H Alberto Flores through Instagram, Twitter, or X, and LinkedIn. So H Alberto Flores, as you can find my link tree there, and my business, my company, and a little bit of what I is coming through the endurance events. Charles, thank you very much for the opportunity. I definitely going to take that. I'm going to let you know what is the next trip and go and see if we put those 100K or 50
Oh
mile
man,
together. And you always have California, you have a place here to come in and train. Let's do something fun. Let's just go and enjoy the trails that we have in this world.
there you go. Thanks so much. So that was